Was new. Got another pick for you today. In this one, we have the Utah Jazz going to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. These teams are on the opposite side of the spectrum when it comes to the Western Conference. You have the Utah Jazz in first place of the Western Conference, and then you have the Timberwolves second to last place in 14th. So obviously, not really too much to play for the Timberwolves, and then the Utah Jazz are playing for something. They would want to keep that first seed, I would think. So for home court advantage throughout the playoffs. So Utah Jazz, man, they're kind of a slept on team. They don't really get all the love, what I'm saying, of most other teams, and that's to be expected. They play in Utah, but I do respect the Utah Jazz, and I think honestly they're I think they could be a threat in the playoffs. I don't see them winning it all, but I could definitely see them making the Western Conference Finals. I know that's not a crazy hot take when you're the first place team, but regardless, they are without Donovan Mitchell, and that's a big factor on why I'm gonna go with actually the Timberwolves. I know a rule of thumb I've said in my last couple videos is I don't like to pick teams that aren't playing for anything, but I think the Minnesota Timberwolves actually are playing for something. They're not playing for the playoffs, but I just believe with next year being such a big year for them when it comes to keeping Karl Anthony Towns, I think they have a little bit more of an incentive to win than the other lowly teams in the league. Like they have more incentive to win than the Rockets or the Magic, the OKC Thunder. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Just the spread absolutely jumps to my eye. The Minnesota Timberwolves actually beat the Utah Jazz in both games that they played. They just beat them at Utah by 5. So still no Donovan Mitchell. Plus 10 right now is the current spread. I'm actually going to buy an extra point, so it's going to be plus 11. That's my pick, plus 11 for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're a much younger team. They play much faster than the Utah Jazz. And I think a part of the reason why they've beaten them both times is they're just much younger. You know what I'm saying? Most of the Timberwolves players are very young, in their 20s, and then a lot of the Utah Jazz are in their 30s. You know what I'm saying? So just for that reason, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I do think they need something to look forward to for next year. So, like, if they close out the end of the year with, a good record, that can be a building block for them next year. I don't think this Timberwolves team is as bad as their record says. They dealt with a lot of COVID shenanigans at the beginning of the year. And if they had their full team throughout this whole entire year, I don't think the record would be as bad as 17-44. I don't think they're that bad of a team. They played decently recently. They beat the Utah Jazz at Utah. They lost to the Sacramento Kings. They won against the Sacramento Kings, got blown out against the Clippers, and then won against the Heat. That's their last, 5 games right there. So they're not playing too bad. I mean, they just beat them at Utah. Now we're in Minnesota. -10 spread, double-digit spread. I'm going with the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll see what happens.